All right, everybody, welcome to the Nicky Free Podcast. We are here today with Derek Pinder, who is an entrepreneur and also a recording artist. And so Derek's taking the time out of his day to join us here. And Derek, how are you doing today, man?
Man, I'm fantastic. We were talking off camera, busy day, some meetings, lots of good work, execution in the office, in the field, so I'm fired up. Today was another dub.
Just getting stuff done. It feels good, doesn't it?
It alleviates my never-ending anxiety.
Dude, that is so true. Oh my God, I have that kind of anxiety too, where if I'm not doing something that actually is helping me get towards my goals, I have a really hard time. Like my buddy's like, do you want to go to this concert in Chicago, this Pearl Jam concert? And I was like, dude, I can't. I'm like, I will not even enjoy myself, But once in a while, you do have to do that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's part of progressing forward, is making time for relaxation and slowing down. Something I had to learn for sure. Right.
So now you just went on a trip recently, right?
We were just out of town, yeah.
Was that something where you got to relax, or was that all work related?
It's like always trying to find a way to kill two birds with one stone. But I did get to relax. I mean, that was just, one of my day one homies, he owns a couple homes in San Diego, and the backyard has a pool, so we were poolside, laptop work.
Right, so that was in California.
Yeah, and we spent time at the beach, and I drank way more and ate super bad. You know what I mean? It was vacation mode, but it's still Monday through Thursday, so it's
right.
In our life and what the season of life that we're in and what we're trying to build, you don't get to take 4 business days off.
No.
Entirely not look at the phone. You know what I mean?
Would you say going into business for yourself, you actually probably work more than you ever did working for other people? More hours, or is it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I've never put so many consecutive 60, 70-hour weeks, 80-hour weeks together. Right. And, you're great friends with my business partner, Josh, so I'm sure he would say the same thing. In the past year and a half, never a stretch like this, but at the same time, I've worked harder and I felt more drained. I definitely work smarter now. I don't even know if I work as hard. It just is it might be the same amount of time, because when I was at a private wealth management firm in school, I put in 14, 16-hour days, and that was hard work, but it was also extremely draining. Yeah. And it felt like I could never catch up.
Right.
Now there's times where it's I feel caught up. I have support, a team,
Right.
I don't know, it's different.
Yeah, it's weird when you work for yourself. There's times where you feel really, really good, and then there's times where you feel just so stretched thin. I feel like,
and it could be.
And it's
today you feel really good, and tomorrow you feel really stretched thin.
I think when I met you guys, I was having one of my best weeks, and I was like, whoa. There's times where you have really bad weeks. If you're working for yourself, it's so different. It's not you're just when you work for someone else, you have a paycheck. It's very steady. It's very predictable. Mm-hmm. When you're in business for yourself, it's some weeks are amazing, and then other times you're just like you said, you almost got to turn to another to God. Okay, I know you put me through this for a reason. I don't know what that is right now, dude. I've had some people on here though that have been through some stuff. So I'm I also look at that, and I'm always very thankful. I'm there's so much more, it's, so I never try to complain too much. Also, I'm that's kind of what I asked for.
Yeah, that's,
I'm always this is what you, every time I don't want to get up or I don't want to go do this thing, I'm bro, this is what you asked for, so you better.
So there's a lot of metaphors. I took one from sermon that was life will test you out, or God will test you out. That's how you earn your testimony. Mm-hmm. And I also think that one of the references that stuck with me is an eagle. I don't know if you know the crow and eagle reference, but basically a crow is the only bird that will try to mess with an eagle, but it really never gets close to it. And then the eagle, all it does is just ascend altitude. Crows can't breathe oxygen at that height, so they literally just can't come up where the eagle can go. But how does the eagle get there? And that's something that's phenomenal to me. It's resistance. Mm-hmm. So if there isn't problems, if there isn't resistance in your life, you're not able to soar to altitudes to be away from the type of people that will never have the results. You see what I'm saying?
I could think of so many metaphors just from that, dude.
Yeah, it's the strongest trees don't blow with, a simple breeze.
It's kind of okay, so if you've been put on this path, it's meant to be hard, and that's the reason you're compelled to be. I've said that many times on here. I felt like I've almost tried to like get out of it a few times, but there's like something, I always say it's God that keeps putting me like, no, bro, like you're gonna do this thing. This is what the plan that I have for you, and because I wouldn't be satisfied if I gave up. If I would try to like go, my friend actually sent me this thing. It was like I can't remember where it came from, but you do this exercise where you write down like, so where's your life going to be in 5 years if you stay on the path that you're on now, or if you took a different path. And then the third option was, where would it be in 5 years if you didn't care about what anybody thought, what anybody. I'm like, that's a hard challenge. Because I was thinking like, I'm like, if I stay on the path I'm at now, it's like I see like really success and like probably the kind of life I want. So what is your view of like the idea of success? Like, what do you see? Because I'm thinking about like the hedonic treadmill, you know, where like once we achieve something, because I'll get these people where like I really want to achieve things, right? Mm-hmm. And then you'll say it to somebody that maybe is just like, they got to this point where they're like, well, yeah, then you achieve it and then what? You know, then it's like, I'm like, well, yeah, but isn't that the point? Like, I mean, yeah, you're going to have like an emptiness after every big achievement, but then you just have to go on to something else. Like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know. What do you think about that success?
I wrestled with that for a long time. I mean, I turned 30 a couple months ago, Nick, and where I've landed on success is actually a Greek word that I stumbled across when I was 19. I got really into philosophy, studying Greek philosophers, and I couldn't tell you which one it is. It's the concept of, it's a word called eudaimonia.
Okay.
It's the progressive realization of a worthwhile goal. And this is actually a Greek word for fulfillment, enrichment. Mm-hmm. It's actually their first attempt to kind of define what a successful human life is, or what success as a human is. Yeah. So this word eudaimonia, again, is the progressive realization of a worthwhile goal. Yeah. And so to me, success is healing the generational trauma that's on my ancestral lineage. Yeah. To heal my DNA, to optimize my DNA, to clear karmic backup and blockages for future generation, and ultimately to reproduce, right? Yeah. And then success for me is to find peace within. That's why my artist name is Peaceful Pinder. Yeah. I've had a lot of inner turmoil and chaos based off what I was surrounded with, and so I learned and resonated subconsciously like this is normal. Chaos is not normal. So I'm getting alignment, harmony, peace from within, so that my external environment is peaceful. I think that creates a better world for myself, for my children, for the people, the greater good of everybody. So success for me is the progressive realization of my healing journey, my self-awareness, not repeating patterns and spiritual lessons that are brought to me by the universe, and then the physical manifestation of all those things, which, you know, comes all the time. In the business is solving problems, the tangible things, the artists, the intangible things of people's spirits, right? And tending to that as the peace, love, unity music we make. Yep. So, I mean, and honestly, dude, that's like the big picture where, like, Josh and I have big vision, you know, right? Like, create something equal to BlackRock with different intentions.
Right, and so, like, just so people know, Josh is your business partner.
Yeah, Josh.
He's been on this podcast, like, twice. So
right, incredible human being, someone that I have very similar past decade to, right? Yeah. We run a private equity firm together. We want to impact thousands, hundreds of thousands of people's lives, change the world our economy works, change the way the work week works. That I say all that to say, success to me is boiled down to like progressive realization of a worthwhile goal. That's what it is for me, and that comes down to, as simple, Nick, is like literally random acts of kindness and like my manners and mannerisms on a day-to-day basis too. It's literally everything, bro. It's a vibration. Like, I'm trying to find agape love, like unconditional love for myself. Yeah. And then just be like a transmitter of that to the universe. And I know that if I do that and embrace God, it will just be, it'll be very natural. It'll be very rhythmic. Things that are meant for my life are, and people who are meant to be in my life and my vibration will be there. And the ones that aren't will slowly kind of fade away. And it's just constantly refinement process of that, bro. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I noticed like that when you're talking about success, that wasn't like talking about money and cars and like things like that. So that's because I think that is like there has to be some deeper thing. Otherwise, I don't even, you know what I mean? It's got to have something more to it than just like than just like a monetary thing, or just like yes, we want all those things, but if you're not doing something that has some other sort of deeper meaning, because like everything you just said is like way deeper than, oh, I want a nice car and I want this or that. Like, dude, that was a lot you just said, actually.
I mean, the background of my phone screen is like a Bentley Bentayga, like my dream car's steering wheel.
Well, yeah, because I think it's important to have these kind of like goals like that. Like,
yeah.
it gets you.
Like, I'm normal. Like, I have things. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I've grown, it's just the priority of it has changed. Because like, once you get around successful people and you start doing business at a high level, and like now I have an extensive track record of like results, right? And you start to see that there's correlation and common denominators. There's a lot of successful people. Not all of them are happy.
No.
You know what I mean? Or like
money does not. Money makes you happy, but it doesn't.
And happy's fleeting. That's temporary. That's like an emotional state. Like contentment. Like again, fulfillment. Like they're enriched. Like they're on fire about their life. And then if you took everything away from them, they would just wake up tomorrow and figure out how to just build it all, man. Like, and that's what I'm like, dude.
It's a mentality.
You could drop me off in the middle of the desert. First of all, I'm gonna live. It's just the way. It's just the way I am. It's the way I'm built. That's what I love about myself.
Built different, dude.
I'm a billionaire. I'm not a billionaire now,
right.
but I am a billionaire, and I know I will be. But that really has nothing to do. Like,
so it's a mindset,
bro. I'm trying to win wars no one else could ever see.
Yeah,
just God.
It's a deeper mindset.
Yeah.
I've seen that many times. Like, there's, people have this idea of success. And you're right, because there are many people that have a monetary value, but they're very unhappy. But it's because of all that stuff you talked about. Like you said, you're like trying to heal yourself, like generational trauma. Like, that's one thing I've noticed is a lot of times with trying to achieve, get ahead, get better, grow, heal yourself, there's always those times where like it's almost like an old programming, and you have to avoid that. And there'll be times when you do get sucked back into it,
right?
And then you're like, oh, what am I doing? It'll be like, it's almost like you versus another part of you that's inside, and you have to like have the one who's like the main driver. This is what I think of it as. And I get mad at my other one sometimes, because I'll be like, the main driver is like who I consider me. And it's the one that's like, okay, we're doing this thing. We're going to do, we're growing. We're getting better. We have these responsibilities. Then every once in a while, the other one will fuck that one over. He'll be like, and I'll literally get mad at myself. I'll be like, bro, like, why did you do that to yourself? Like, you know what I mean? Like, but then you have to kind of, for me, I've found that you have to be forgiving to the other part of yourself that kind of will mess you up once in a while, because if you just get angry about it, you're not going to really get anywhere either. So it's like,
I think you got to get curious, actually.
Yeah, getting curious.
You got to start asking why.
Dude, I've been trying to do that.
Why do you do that to yourself?
Lately with people I disagree with. Like, not getting angry, not getting like, but just like actually staying curious. Like, well, tell me more. It can be challenging, because if someone has a very different opinion than you, they can get mad too that you even think different than them. Even if you are trying to hear their side.
Sometimes it's just reflective of people's emotional intelligence.
Well, there's that too. Yeah, I was telling you, I really like that bell curve. The intelligence bell curve. So that's what that Metallica thing I made was.
Oh, okay.
Like, so there's with Metallica, you have these fans that are like, obsessed with like the one era. So I'm like, it's funny because then you got like the low intelligence and the high intelligence, both like, oh, that slaps. They're like, and then the ones who didn't even have this, and they have all these like. I don't know. I just think those things are funny, dude. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
That is a weird thing. Like, I see that intelligence IQ bell curve as, it's kind of like when you have a intelligence, it can kind of get in the way. And then I think the people on the high end of the curve have kind of realized that, like simplicity of things. That people who maybe don't have a high IQ have kind of are, because there's always that thing about like, there's certain people who are very successful that maybe aren't that smart, but they've learned how to take action. And that's where in the middle, sometimes people with like middle intelligence can kind of slow themselves down with overthinking and then not taking action. You know what I mean?
I had a conversation with someone today that was talking about that and learning from everyone. And I said, homeless man might not take action, but if you slow down enough and you listen to his words, it might be the most wise thing you ever hear.
Yeah.
He might not just act on it.
We discount a lot of homeless people because, but dude, I think about that all the time, how close Like, it could be any of us.
But as a lot. Well, it could. I mean, and people are where they are based off decisions that they make. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Like, trust me, I have probably a pretty brutal opinion for the greater Seattle area. You know, when it comes to that stuff. But at the end of the day, it doesn't mean that any human life is not beyond dignity, respect.
Agreed. Yeah.
And love and I do think that we can learn a ton because they have simplified life. You know, a lot of them are there by choice, actually. That's what people don't because it's simpler. It's easier.
Do you think that's something where they've just, like, are so disenfranchised with the system, they're just like, I'm out. I don't even want to play the game. I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to be a human.
No, some people just don't want responsibility. To whom much is given comes much responsibility. Yeah. Some people, they no longer trust themselves, so they can't have responsibility. They no longer can lead themselves. So I was actually going to go back to something I was going to share. I'm about to drop some real golden nuggets. Okay?
All right, let's hear it.
So get out your notepads. So you were talking about like relationship, what's important in life. And I kept hearing relationship because that's really the word that stands out to me. So I do this exercise. We go through what's called a value hierarchy. I did this for the first time when I was 19 years old. What it is, you have 100 power words. Say it's like freedom, God, power, wisdom, right? And you pick 10, and then you narrow it down to 5, and then you rank those 5. And this value hierarchy is actually a system by which you make decisions. And if you get to know somebody enough and you ask enough key questions, you can find out what it is if doing this exercise. I've done this exercise like 100 plus times with people. For me, it's God/integrity, which means being true. And my second one is relationship. So it's like integrity actually in Latin means to be wholesome. So being whole and true to God and like my intuition, right, the Holy Spirit, and then relationship. So relationship with God, then relationship with myself, then relationship with people. Now coming back to why success is a very inverted thing. It's external. It's actually based off ego or object referral instead of self-referral or spirit. Okay, so that's what they don't teach people in school. So my success definition comes through spirit, which is my relationship with God and my relationship with myself. That is first and foremost how I define success. Then my relationship with people. That's where you start to bring in family. Right? But most people, they go family first. They don't even go God. Right. So first of all, how are you supposed to? You got to get your vessel in tune to communicate with a higher power that has a rhythm, has a natural harmony. That's a relationship. Now, Tony Robbins has a quote. Ready? This is the tie-in. The quality of your life is the quality of your communication. Again, everyone takes that as external. Communication being not what you said, but how it was received. Right? Because I could tell you I love you, but if you don't receive it that way, then my communication was not that. I could just put my hand gently on you and be like, you're my dog. And you might feel more loved than me to explicitly say that, right? So keep that in mind. Communication is how it's received. Now the quote, quality of your life is quality of your communication. Quality of your life is the quality of your communication with whom first? God. And if you're not faith-based, yourself. And it's how you receive your own self-talk, your own self-love, your own self-care. It's how you receive divinity. That's what matters, what you put in your food. If your pineal, or what you put in your body, your food, your water, your pineal gland. Because you have to be able to receive the message in its fullness. Pull down higher thoughts. Keep the vessel in the temple honored so that it can then be a vessel to physically bring into manifest what God has in store for your life. That's how you bring the greatest good. And bringing that back to relationship, that's how you become a successful human being. That's how you grow and evolve yourself. And again, take away God if you don't have a faith base, and respect the evolution of the universe, because then it's intelligent design, which is to me just another way to say God's creation. But if it is just evolution based, then you are called to expand from a spiritual level, quantum physics level, like an atom, right? Like a cell. And so if you are called to expand, this is the blueprint. It is the relationship and communication, because you are imprinting on the frequencies and wavelengths of this universe, right? You're communicating to your cells. And so I think that that's something like, bro, when you talk about success, a daily win for me is, am I being peaceful inside? Am I being loving inside? Am I in tune with my intuition? Am I sending flash prayers? Am I slowing down to be present for the most important interaction of every day as any conscious being? So humans, animals, right? Like, literally organic, anything organic, right? Like everything's focused on inorganic, AI, technology. Like those are the least important interactions of your day. And I think people are losing sight of this, bro. And this is what I'm passionate about. in music. This is what I'm passionate about in business. But how do we blend this spiritual and personal development with business and entrepreneurship development?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you know what we're cooking. You know all the behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. But to me, that's like, bro, that's how real breakthrough happens on an individual level and a collective.
Right. So many things you just said. I have so many thoughts about all that. Like you said, the food thing, like what you put in your body. So like, I do believe that like that's your vessel. So the healthier that your body is, because I found that so first of all, like I do believe very much in vibration. Like even me, like there's times where I can tell my vibration is so much lower, and I have to try to get it in a good, especially when I'm training clients and things like I have to be. I'm supposed to be an energy to bring them up, to make them feel good. If I'm not, and so some days it's very hard to get there. But I definitely believe in vibration. And then also I do think the healthier and more in tune you are is when you do feel, more of God, the universe. And I think that so many people are like completely shut off from that. And they don't realize what we are. Like I always say this like cheesy thing. I'm like, we're these like divine beings. Mm-hmm. Like you get in tune with it, and then you realize that most people are on a vibrational level that is completely, because I've literally had people get mad at me about saying this before, because they'll hear it on my podcast and they take it like offense. Like I'm like, they're just like low vibrational zombies walking around.
Oh yeah, they're lower dimensional beings.
And I'm just like, and it's like I'm saying like you aren't that. You could actually do something about it, but you're all in this programming and you're just stuck in this like, and so I'll try to break out of it, and sometimes you feel like you're, in a better vibration, you see it and you want to help people, but they just kind of take offense to it almost, because they're almost like, come back, just come back down here with us,
dude.
And that's why I try.
Syndrome, like, imagine a dog in a backyard that's just like, it's unfit, like it's unhealthy, it's not well, but it's like it's all it knows. And I think it's just an incubation. Like it's the same cookie cutter backyard that you could put any human or dog in, and you're gonna get the same exact results if you accept that. The hamburger and shake, like the same monotony.
Well, you said something about that just earlier too, like about like when you're talking about healing yourself and stuff, and it just slipped my mind, but I had it earlier.
Like generational trauma and just that stuff?
There's that too, but like, I don't know, like it's like a programming thing. It just literally slipped my mind. I just thought about it.
Bro, it's like when I started studying nutrition and like ancient grains and how the soil's been stripped of minerals, and like we don't even eat things that our ancestors ate. Like they're literally like we've been.
Dude, I even get to the point where I think it's like, kind of by design.
It's literally by design.
What I'm saying?
Like it's it's non-vibrational food, and then everything that it has vibration, take it away.
Right, if you're in power, you want to keep the population in that vibrate because they're easy to control that way.
Yeah.
And that's why I think they don't, I think we're kind of programmed in a way to keep us there, and I feel like there is some sort of force that wants to keep us there, and so it makes it very hard to break out of it. But like, and I think that's kind of the whole thing you guys are fighting for. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
spiritual warfare.
Is to try to like help people kind of get out of that.
Yeah.
And so like, it's honestly kind of a dangerous thing.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Study the lives of, everyone that's been targeted. Malcolm X, Bob Marley, Nipsey Hussle as of recently. I mean, like, even getting into the entertainment industry, we had this conversation one time. Like, bro, you gotta be very aware and understand that this is a calculated game. Like, there's a reason why this information is not circulated for people, and what do those people have to gain from their position of power? It's the same thing throughout time,
Well, and when I met
nothing to be concerned
the last
about.
time that I had Josh on here, I was kind of like just kind of realizing some of these things on myself, and then he told me some stories too, because he was in the music industry too.
Yeah, we have very similar stories,
dude. It's like, and I've seen some of these things myself, and it's like, I don't know, like people think you're crazy, but it's like they don't know because you haven't even. There's a thing where things are hidden from you by your own like incompetence, basically. So you've never had. You've never been to a spot where you've maybe like, and so you think these things are crazy, and it's like,
if you never hiked that far up the mountain, how are you going to tell me what the view looks like?
Because so many people that are very, very high up have these very similar stories, and it scares the shit out of them. and then all of a sudden they're a crazy,
Dave
famous
Chappelle
person.
turns away 50 million. Now he's crazy in Africa for 12 years, but he's come back and has a great career. And the dude just went crazy for 10 years and then went back to normal.
He's stronger than ever right now.
BS,
he's more aligned than ever too. Yeah. But dude, he was on a path that he had to get away like that, or he saw what was going on.
So he chose his life over the money. Everyone has a breaking point.
Cat Williams too is another
Same thing.
guy.
What do you say? This year was going to be the year of the truth.
Dude, that was a wild interview. Oh my God!
I'll tell you one thing, Nick. Mm-hmm. It's going to get worse before it gets better, especially if Trump gets elected. The things that are going to come out about these people. You see Zuckerberg just came out and said that Biden was pressuring him to censor everything. Yeah, that
was crazy. You know what that says to me? I do feel like Zuckerberg probably knows stuff more than we do. And if he's trying to align himself with that side, I think that tells me that Trump probably is going to win. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he don't want to go to jail.
That's why he's covering his ass right now. I mean, I still think it was cool that he came out and did that. Now did he probably contribute to a lot of death and destruction? Yeah.
I have to share this. I had this thought today. This is meant for mine and yours conversation.
Okay.
Okay, like the movies when it's like Star Wars or something, and like it's like even the good guys they start to go to the bad side because it's like it just looks like the war has been won. Like all of it is the Empire has just taken over the clone army, and it's like darkness is like you can see the storm coming. Like, and everyone's like, run away, like the Twister's coming, right? And it's so dark, and it's like this ominous, and you're like, there's no way we don't get hit with lightning or just absolutely dumped on. And you're just out in an open field, and they're like, come over here, get on this bus. We got the rubber wheels. You're going to be just fine during this storm. Yeah. And you're like, I don't even want to be on that bus with them.
Right.
Because it's dirty and it's stinky, but I know I'm not going to die, and at least I'll make it through.
Oh,
and you're like, oh, okay, well, if there's no of this side anymore, I'm gonna at least exist, right? So I'll submit. But the thing is, how God works always in every movie, even the Masons that write these stories, like the Disney stories, the good guy always wins. Because right when that storm, like literally, it might start dumping rain, but it only does it for like 45 seconds, and then it just opens up to sun. Because what happens,
you went and sold out.
This is my point. This is my point with this is because he'll work on the heart of like a Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
Like through the Holy Spirit, like things that we could never plan. Like logically, it doesn't make sense. Like this dude's been bad for 20 years, and then he's just gonna get struck off his donkey on the way to massacre more Christians.
I think he's on a journey,
and God just does that with people, and it's people of influence. Like whether it's an Elon Musk to buy Twitter, like or Trump. I feel like Trump was bad for like 25 years.
Yeah,
like I don't feel like he was a good dude. I feel like God intervened in his life.
Trump was chasing the same thing. He was chasing.
I'm like, and people are like
straight chasing pussy
Epstein.
and money.
Yeah, you know bro. And he just had like a divine intervention. And you can't plan for the divine intervention, and it will always come in the last hour, like the witching hour, bro.
Right, so even a guy like Zuckerberg could be being used for the force of good, because I do feel like that was a huge step. Because it's pretty hard to like say, well, now, oh, none of that was real. I mean, clearly it already was, because we had the Twitter files, so we already know these independent journalists, we already know this stuff's going. That's one where I get in a lot of trouble with my friends, because like I think my biggest issue is like freedom of speech when I'm judging on who I'm going to vote for, and when I see it, because like you said, it's being attacked, and it's like, why do anybody attacking free speech is because of power? They want power, so it's like
you're hiding something.
Yeah.
You don't want transparency?
Yeah. Clearly.
Oh, you don't want.
If your idea is better, you're not scared to share it. That's the thing. People are like, well, what if they say these horrible things? Well, yeah, but then the other people can come and say the opposite of that, and we can hash it out and see.
Nick, does that not come back to the core of why like constantly what I will preach is people need to get their stuff together. Mm-hmm. Heal yourself so that you're not projecting traumas and insecurities onto conversations that need to be had, whether it's around race, gender identity, sexual preference. First of all, if you're not a human being that can have an honest conversation with yourself about why you are making the choices that you are, and I don't expect everybody to have these answers because I don't.
No,
I'm in the midst of it.
I'm like just I'm just trying to be a better person, but I'm a human. I have flaws.
It's that right there. If you say that to me, I'm like much more inclined to be like, okay, well, now we have a level playing field. It's always like the leftist stuff and like the politics stuff is always like, there's nothing wrong with me, but there's something wrong with you.
Right.
And I'm like,
I can't get into that either, because it's a thing of like wanting to normalize like trauma, normalize, toxic behaviors,
normalize pedophilia, stuff that's not
and
normal.
it's like not even say, well, I don't mind if you have a toxic behavior, but I don't think it's good. But it's like not enough. Like you have to also think it's good.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're hurting my feelings.
Oh, no, but don't you see how I validate myself by doing this?
Yeah.
Like, do you harm yourself?
A lot of those people, they're really not happy with themselves, but they like are blaming other people still. And so, yeah, I kind of had a whole journey with a lot of that stuff because I don't know, like you start realizing your own toxic behaviors and the way that you were able to heal them is by like admitting. I always say it's like your shadow self, like once because I always tell people like there's people I know that are like scared of taking mushrooms, right? And I'm like, that's
an indicator right there.
I was like, well, if you have some stuff that you're hiding from yourself and you're lying to yourself about your own self, then you're probably not going to have a good time on mushrooms because it's going to show you that shit. You know what I mean? Like,
amen, bro.
But if you've kind of faced that stuff, you're going to have no problem. So
that's so true. That's why this is the yin and yang episode, bro. This is the shadow side episode.
I see that because I'm on the dark side, you're on the light side. If we switch spots, we'd literally be a yin yang.
Bro,
side.
we could integrate. See, this is something to me that's like, it's so feared. It's like taboo. It's like you gotta stay. Hey, shout out
Liquid
to the
Death, baby.
But
sponsor me.
That's a little cut. Sponsor my boy Nick. You're gonna regret it later if you don't. But cosmic irony, right? Liquid Death. I mean, this is great branding. This is amazing. This is why people resonate with it, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I've studied a lot of duality and kind of like yin and yang and trying to understand like, okay, so does darkness exist? Well, only because it's the absence of light.
Right.
Then I try to wrestle with that. So like, okay, so darkness doesn't exist. It's only exist when there's no light.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes there's no light, so it does exist.
Absence of light. Yeah.
Okay. So that means inevitably, bro, no matter how much light or how much darkness there is, there will always be a sliver of the other. There's never total darkness or total light. At least not from what I can see in the physical. So then understanding that's where the forgiveness and the grace comes in. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's the story of Jesus to me and understanding it in my faith walk. But, I'm inclined to have a residue of darkness on me at all times, at least a spot.
Yeah.
I can't ignore it. Like,
it's part of us.
Because then you go up to other people and there's a big stain on you and they can see the stain and you're trying to act like it's not there. Mm-hmm. And that just creates a really weird dynamic. Why can't we both go, hey, this is my stain.
Yeah.
This is what I'm trying to use to clean it up. And then the other person goes, hey, this is my stain. This is what I'm trying to use to clean it up. And then it's just like an instant understanding, a mutual platform.
Connection, yeah.
Yeah, like a rawness, like a true vulnerability.
Right, because we all have that. Mm-hmm. So, dude, let me ask you a little bit about, so you said you're 30 now. Mm-hmm. What was your, growing up, what got you into the interest of, because you do rap, right?
Yeah.
So recording, you've dropped a few albums, right?
I've dropped 2 albums, and
you've been rapping for a long time, probably.
Yeah, we got 2 more that are going to come out in the next year and a half. So
what was your growing up like? Talk a little bit about your experience with music, like what drew you to that?
So I originally wrote poetry. I grew up in a trap house, a drug house, where they made crack cocaine. My mom's side of the family, who I lived with from 0 to 11, was kind of ran by one of my auntie's boyfriends who's passed away, and so has that uncle.
Yep.
So very very strange dynamic. Music evolved for me because I wrote poetry. At that time, I started writing poetry when I was like 6.
Was that like what got you into the poetry? Even was it just like some way to kind of?
I read a lot. That was my escape. We had a program at my elementary school called Accelerated Reader, which is like you would read a book and then take a test on it, and then you would get points depending on how well you got on the test.
Yes.
So like I had my personal thing was like I was ignored and neglected, and if I was paid attention to, I was like the shit was beaten out of me. So I validated myself through academics and athletics, which is something I learned later in life. So I've always been like a 4.0 IP kid, like captain of the basketball team since a freshman, like super, you know what I mean? Like my dad's a professional achiever, my dad's a professional athlete. He was drafted to the Giants as a pitcher out of high school at 17. My mom's like super intelligent but addicted, like an intelligent person that needs to escape. So like that's her excuse. So I started writing poetry because I'm reading a bunch of books. Like I'm reading poetry at 6 years old, and this is an escape for me. I'm like, it's just a place to go where it's an imaginary world, and like words are like this thing that I can just use to express like all these emotions that I have, and I have no one to talk to about anything. Like I gotta shoulder it, keep quiet. And so it evolved, and I always wrote poetry, but in my household, that was like, dude, you don't do that. Like my dad's African American, my mom's side of the family is all white, except for my uncle. And I'm like his little right-hand man. And he's like 6'4", 250 black dude, right?
Okay, yeah.
Straight, like, bro, when 50 Cent came into town at the Gorge Amphitheater for Summer Jam, he had a limo business that was the money laundering business. And he took 50 in the limo and his whole crew, like 3 different limos, all the drugs. So, like, this is who my uncle was to the community, right? And, like, I'm, like, growing up idolizing this, right?
Right.
And I guess I say all that to say, like, music, hip-hop is, like, a part of the culture. So, but then, like, poetry is, like, dude, that's, like, you're weak. Like, you're...
Well, poetry's gay. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
That's like, literally, like, I don't want to say...
What are you doing, writing
like,
poetry, little faggot?
Little faggot. Like, literally in my family, that's what it is. Like, you're a faggot.
And
then in the African-American community, like, bro, you can't be gay. Like, if anybody with a black dad who's light skinned is gonna know what I'm saying.
So even if you're not gay, but you're writing poetry, that's gay.
That's gay. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not. I have no issue with that stuff.
No,
but, like,
but I'm just saying, I know exactly what you mean. There's these certain things that it's like...
just like, it's in a correlation.
What are you doing? Writing poetry? That's gay, bro. What are you doing?
So I started freestyling, like, at parties when I'm 16. I never stopped doing it. And then, like, people were basically just like, bro, you need to like, write a song. Like, we'll get you studio time. And so the homies, you know, shout out
Dude, who
Keyshawn
were
Proctor.
you listening to? Like, what was like, when you were first kid, like, what was the thing that you just, like, heard it and you're like, whoa. Like, this just changed my fucking life.
My pops did play a lot of, like, DMX, Jay-Z, Big L, Wu-Tang Clan, Biggie. Oh, yeah. I grew up on East Coast rap, like, to the core, bro. Like, I listened to West Coast shit as I got, like, to, like, 9, 10, 11 years old. Mm-hmm. But, like, really what I grew up on was, like, just East Coast, like, whippity-dippity, like, lyrical, spiritual, miracle stuff. And to me, bro, like, that just was just a... You know, growing up a basketball player, there's just a crossover between, like, hip hop and, like...
Well, I always tell people, like, I used to chew tobacco and stuff, and it was like all your you tried to, like, emulate your heroes.
Yeah.
So, like, I remember...
It's like, for me, Allen Iverson.
Yeah, so, like, I would, like, all my favorite dudes, like, in WWE, they'd be like, they'd chew tobacco. And so then, like, I remember going to, like, an event, and I might get this raw, and it's like, there's a spit bottle, and it's like, they're like, that's Randy Orton's spitter. And I'm like, yeah, of course Randy chews. He's cool. I'm cool. I chew. You know, like, it's like this weird thing. It's like a culture. Like, you want to be like your heroes. Like, yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I get that. Like, you start emulating your heroes. And, like, because I had all that stuff, too. Mine was in rock music, obviously. Like, now I do listen to a lot of rap. I don't know. There was, like, a period where I just changed. Like, I got really disenfranchised with rock music. And I, like... It was kind of, actually, honestly, it was during COVID when I saw all these people that I considered my heroes who have been fighting the man, you know, their whole life. Mm-hmm. And I believed in that stuff. I believed in them with, like, all my heart, to the point of, like, it was the reason I exist. Like, they were my heroes. And then to see them all basically, like...
Be liberal sellouts?
Be sellouts. Like, when I see the most corrupt thing I've ever seen in my life, and the people who have been, like, you know, fighting corruption their whole life, the reason that I thought they were, like, great... And they're just, like, sell out to that side. And then I realized, like, how powerful all this stuff is. And I don't know. So then I just, like, started listening to a lot of Kanye lately. And, like, I don't know. That's all I listen to.
That's one dude ain't buying into their program in a general.
Well, that's what I said. That guy basically lost $1 billion for free speech, you know, to, like, have his own voice. Like, say what you want about the guy, but, like, I mean, he could have shut up. And he'd still be having an Adidas deal and be like a billionaire.
He could be buddy with Jay-Z and be worth more than him.
Oh my God, yeah. So, but yes, I get that. So, like, having your heroes.
That's where the value hierarchy comes in.
And then, was there a certain artist that you kind of, like, were able to emulate a little bit, or how did you kind of get your rap style, dude?
Yeah, I definitely was, for a period, like, obsessed with Logic. Like, in terms of... I had never heard someone articulate the exact type of life story that I grew up in as someone who's biracial and light-skinned and wasn't afraid to talk about it. And, you know, I'm sure a lot of light-skinned people would resonate with the fact that where is our community? You know, there's not, like, mulatto communities. There's not, like, get-togethers. Like, you're always not black enough or not white enough. And that might sound jarring to people, but trust me.
That's the thing, huh?
You're not light-skinned. Yeah. So, like, like, you get... best of both worlds, like, no real culture identity. So, like, that drew me to Logic and just his style of rap, and he was saying real stuff, and he was talking about healing and mental health, and So I started, I was very similar, and
So that was
evolved
something you
my own
related
sound.
to more. It
Yeah.
was like an actual healthy.
Yeah, it was a healthy thing to put in my
Right.
subconscious. Like, I like J. Cole and Kendrick, but I'm selective about their music, even going back to 2012 when I started listening to them.
Because that was what was hard for me. Like all my heroes, like then all of a sudden you have like Chris Cornell dies, and it's like so all these people you're like, damn, maybe I don't want to like go down that road of like singing about poor me and like because a lot of the rock music gets like tortured and
Dude, I said I'd give it one album, and I'm gonna do it probably a little bit more forever and ever and ever. And when I say a little bit, that's an understatement.
Yeah.
But Street Preacher was that album, bro, because I don't want to
Yeah.
do the reflective, introspective, woe is me
But
my whole life.
that stuff's the most powerful. But I started finding like
After a while, I is annoying, though.
I got into a point where I'm like when I was younger and I'm like just kind of like an angry young guy. Like it was
you're idealistic.
really easy to like get up there and yell about the things in the world that are wrong and stuff. And then when you start realizing like, oh shit, well I could actually like change all this instead of complaining about it. And so there got to be a point where I was just like, because when I'm on stage, I'm the singer. So I'm like having to like live these painful experiences to emote that. Because there's the lyrics I'm singing are like, painful. And they're like, and I have to recreate those emotions every night on stage, which a lot of times I felt like the other guys in the band, like, they didn't really get like, that's what you're doing. So like, they're like there to have fun. And like, we're doing a rock band. It's fun. And I'm like, man, I'm like, bearing my soul every night, trying to like, come up with this emotional stuff. And it just started not feeling good anymore. And I was like, I just don't want to do this, And then the whole thing where like all my heroes basically sold out. And I'm like, so then I don't know, it made a change in me,
That's what they say, don't meet your heroes. I think that's what happened to me in the industry. I moved to LA after 4 years at the private wealth management firm.
I think a lot of them start out with the right thing, but I think there is a thing where, okay, and I even say too, like, I don't know. I say I don't know that I'm good enough to like, would I be able to turn all that down? I always say that too. It's like, there was a whole, I was telling the other guy, there's this like, the Tiger Woods thing. Like, it's really easy if you're some like incel, ugly fat guy to sit there and be like, I'm morally better than Tiger Woods. Like, bro, you never had all those models coming up to you like Tiger. You have no idea what you would have done in that situation. You might have been like weak too. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm like, if a guy has the ability to turn down those kind of temptations, but he's at the level where they're presented to him, now I really respect that guy.
That's what I said earlier.
But if you're just some dude that's literally, it's easy for you to say because you've never been presented with the chance to sell out, I don't know how much moral high ground you actually have. You know what I'm saying?
I absolutely agree. That's why I can't listen to the opinion of people who would never even lift their finger to take a step to even go on that journey.
I have a hard time taking advice from people that aren't doing, that aren't in a position that I want to be in, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you can always learn from everybody, but I don't know. It's hard for me. You get a lot of, I'm sure you guys find this too. You're out in the world, you're doing these things. So you're taking action, you're doing something. Mm-hmm. You get all these people on the sidelines. You should do it like this. Mm-hmm. You should do that. And it's like, okay.
Or it's not believable to them. They project their own skepticism because
you shouldn't do that.
They don't know how to time manage at that level. It's what I said earlier.
Bro, or they're scared.
Yeah, that's everything comes from fear.
Like you said about the whole like get on the bus thing.
Yeah, it's fear.
I think right now there's a lot of people that are just like, I see the power, and I'm gonna be a simp to the power because they're gonna be in power forever. It's really hard to start trying to fight back against that stuff. You know what I mean? That's why the people that do, but I think there is a groundswell of like you said, the Elon Musk, the X thing. Like it's empowered people to like be able to like kind of shine some like you said light on these things. And I don't know, the internet's changed the game, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like it's much harder to like psyop an entire group of people when you have the internet. You know what I'm saying? Because like they can say like, actually that's not true what you're telling me.
Right.
And it's like, holy shit,
Yeah.
But so anyways, we should get back a little bit to your music. So like, what age were you when you first, were there times you like did shows in front of people? Did you ever like, so when did you start like actually like recording stuff? Did you get a laptop and just start like playing around?
So, I was about to say, at that time, shout out the homie Keyshawn Proctor. He was like high school homie, day one homie, junior high, all that. Grew up in the same neighborhood. Was my first like music manager.
Right.
He runs a clothing company called Loud Minds. He's super creative, like into fashion. This dude was like, you need to get the equipment. So I can't remember if he bought the equipment. I think he did, but like basically my friends were like, you need to record.
Like they saw the talent.
Yeah. Because there was like, I had freestyled enough times and just like, I mean, looking back on it, it makes sense now. But they're like, dude, you need to record songs. You know,
Right.
like I had
maybe they even saw your talent more than you did.
More than I understood it, yeah. And so I had a closet studio at this place in East Bellevue, actually kind of over by where we're at now. And I was in school at Bellevue College, and I started recording. And then I would just do like mixtape stuff because like I grew up on like Wayne in the mixtape era, so I would just take someone else's beat. I remember like one of the first beats I rapped over, like made a song, was like Drake's Pound Cake, and then like the 0 to 100 instrumental. And honestly, I didn't really do too much in the first like 6 months, year. Just practiced hella, made hella songs, recorded all the time. Was just always in there. It's like so fun. It was so fun to do that and to hear my own voice. And
when you're probably getting out, like it's probably cathartic too.
Yeah,
because you had, like you said, this childhood that was you know chaotic, and you had all this probably stuff. It was probably one way that you could actually express yourself.
Yeah, and it had felt locked in for a while. You know, it was a new way. It was like poetry had evolved, and so it went really well. Just started uploading music on SoundCloud. Taught myself how to mix and master. Put music out on SoundCloud for a year straight for free. Yeah. When I left the finance firm, actually our third partner in our private equity firm, Ryan, he said, "I know you're gonna go start a business. Whatever you do, I want to invest in you." So I said, give me a year. I'm going to move to LA. I want to be a musician. Mm-hmm. A year later, he gave me my first $3,000 check and invested in my business. But shout out Dakota Warner, too. Dakota and Keyshawn. Dakota wrote me a $1,000 check to go get studio time. That's how I very first started recording. Uh-huh. I'm going to pay you that back, by the way. I still haven't taken care of you, brother. He lives in Montana now. That's my guy. Mm-hmm. And then Keyshawn bought the equipment. So, like, I honestly, bro, that's what I think the universe, like, things that you're meant to do, it will just happen. You have to do it. Because, like, I just started writing music, like, and then I would just show my friends and just be genuinely passionate. Anyways, long story short, bro, I moved to LA. I ended up signing a songwriting deal. I bought myself out of it. I've worked with, like, every single really major artist that you could think of. I don't really speak on that very often. I have features on my own personal catalog with major artists, #1 independent artists in the world. I'm really blessed to have lived in LA and Nashville, two biggest songwriting cities in the country.
Huge,
I have incredible industry relationships, both from a business perspective and as an artist and a songwriter. I'm very grateful for what life has given me in terms of that. I will always pursue music. I'm just not interested in like celebrity or fame, and I don't validate my ego through my music. Yeah. So I don't know if God has like the same things in plan as like, I don't know if I'm willing to sacrifice or give to the game what like a Drake or a J. Cole would, but I know wholeheartedly that like the music and the substance is meant for certain people's lives. So we're gonna continue to just keep pushing forward on it. I don't know if it's supposed to be at scale or what.
You just made me think of like how much my view of celebrity has changed so much, because I don't know, like I think so many people, like it's like the royal family, like they just like put celebrity on this weird. It's just like, I mean, we're like you said, we're these like divine beings, like we all have power, you know. It's like, but we do this weird thing with celebrities, and then
it's like they're different, like they have something we don't, and that's not at all true.
But it's not. They're really just people.
Honestly, I met a lot of them, and they're super lame.
Yeah.
Like, don't meet your heroes. That's some advice. Don't meet your heroes. Go meet a mentor and learn from them and pay them for their time.
Right.
And if you can't pay them for their time, pay them with your time. Develop skill sets, give them value.
Yeah, and I've met some heroes where it was, like, really cool, too. But there was always, like, even when I was at, like, my WWE tryouts, I would meet these people, and then other people would be so, like, oh my God, you met so, and I just never thought of it like that. I always would be thinking of like, no, like I'm trying to be one of these people, so I'm not like looking at them like they're like, you know, special. I mean, they're special, like they're talented, you know, but I was always just like, no, I want to be on their level, so I would just think of myself as one of them in a sense, you know, like not saying there's people that have done way more in wrestling than I have, but I never had that weird like. I remember one time I was at a tryout with another guy. And this guy was super talented. He was actually super jacked, super huge. and he was like backstage and he was like trying to take like selfies with like the other wrestlers, and I'm kind of like, bro, we're here to like try to be them. Like, why? I felt like it was like kind of like dumb to like act like a fanboy.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're trying to like, we're trying to be here to like get a job, you know? Like, I just felt like it was kind of like weird that he wanted to like be a fanboy when we're supposed to be trying to like be among, I don't know, I just didn't like it. I was like, I didn't want to be like that, you know? I was like, I was cool to meet them, shake their hand, get some maybe advice from them and stuff, but then I would say like now, yeah, like now I look at celebrity, like so many of them are just literally tools of like, you know, whoever the power is, right. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll literally just say, like there are so many people online that are just like, you know, and there's people coming out saying it like, hey, so and so offered me this much money to, you know, promote them or whatever, and I said no. Like you get these TikTok stars that are like, yeah, like Joe Biden tried to, you know, pay me to like promote him and I didn't want to. So and I'm like, man, everything is like a scam. You know what I'm saying? Like you get these people where you're clearly getting money from them because you're like saying how amazing, you know, like especially when Biden started like, you know, getting dementia, and you'd see these people just like not even saying anything about it, and oh my God, he's so sharp, he's amazing, like. That was weird.
Yeah.
That was wild.
It comes back to your values, you know, integrity. Some people have it, some people don't.
Yeah, and so you've probably had times maybe where you've kind of turned away from that, huh?
My entire modeling career has not happened for that reason.
Yeah, because you did a little bit of that too, huh?
Yeah.
I'm sure that's fucked up, dude. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
I've been a voice actor. I mean, I don't talk to people about the things that I've done in my life and what I've done through talent management agencies, but voice acting, modeling, really high level shoots. I mean, people see it like on my Instagram. I don't do that actively, and I'm doing more than most people who are full time models in the city. Right. You know what I mean, or whatever. They're full time trying to do this, and like I do it, lift my pinky, and I'm doing this.
I feel like that's like a weird industry.
It's a weird, bro. I just stay away from things that get weird, and I got a story about that one too. I'll tell you off the mic, because there's certain things.
Yeah, there's things I could tell you off the mic that I don't want to say.
Yeah, there's just certain things you don't discuss in public. But like,
it's like, ugh.
Nah, modeling is one of those things, man. Like, you could take it so far, and then there's my personal boundary. That's where I say no. There's no monetary, there's no career advancement, there's nothing where it's like, some things you die on this hill. And I think that's something that's a loss. I think there's a lot of weak people, bro. I think we've had really weak times with not a lot of resistance. So we don't have people that have a lot of strength in their spirit soul.
Yeah, because I had moments where I actually realized, like, found my integrity because I did sell it out a little bit. And then I got to, like, points where I'm like, I don't feel good. And I started, like, realizing like how I feel about myself is more important than money, or like, you know what I mean? Like
they say all sin comes from social pressure.
Yeah.
Every bad decision comes from social pressure. Do you believe that?
Sin comes from social pressure.
Every bad choice comes from social pressure.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know, that's weird because like there's times where I do things that I don't align with that maybe nobody else knows, and I still don't feel good about it, and I can't do it. You know what I mean? So it's not always like an outside force. It's not always about like how other people would view me. It's how I view myself, and I couldn't live with myself if I gave in to some of these things.
This is super deep.
But question. I could make money.
It's like, do you view that about yourself?
Right. But also, yeah, like if everybody, there's things that me or you could probably do right now and make monetary value from it and have society be like, wow, you guys are awesome, but we wouldn't maybe feel good about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. So, yeah, that's like just what is society okay with and what are they not okay with? Or, I don't know, I feel like it's more important to have like how you feel about yourself than society.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to figure out though. Like, why do I feel that way about myself? Because sometimes I think that
is it society?
That's where I was going with that. Yeah.
I don't know.
Because there's so much indoctrination that sometimes I don't even realize I'm indoctrinated. Like literally cognitive bias, you know?
Right.
That's where I think like psychedelics and certain healing, you have to be intentional about it.
Psychedelics were huge, dude. Like, no, I realized that too about like, I think there was a certain kind of mentality that I had from growing up, where I kind of realized like the majority of it was like a psyop, you know, like all these ideas that I had and kind of realizing that they're not right or not true. And that was a challenge coming to that realization because so much of it is like so deeply ingrained, you know, in you. And then you're starting to be like, whoa, that thing that I've thought my whole life is actually not true.
We talked about systems earlier, and like they serve us at one point, and they create identities that are so hard to let go of. And it's like, I think sometimes our systems are just for surviving certain seasons of life, and then they're outdated, and we need to be, moving into a system that will allow us to thrive, like an iOS update.
Yeah, it's like you're updating your software.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think we all grew up in this kind of like, very secular world, and you have these certain opinions, and then you start looking a little deeper, and like you said, like I think, psychedelics were a big thing where it's like, oh, it shows you some different stuff, dude. Like,
I just read your tattoo, to fall in love with life again. That's what psychedelics does for
you know what's funny? That's like a Metallica song. It's from a Metallica song. It's like one, so that's one band where I have not gotten disenfranchised with, even though like I would say they're really smart about being super, super successful. One thing is they don't talk about political things or like, I don't know, but I still like really, like James Hetfield is still like one of my heroes. And so like he had this childhood that was really fucked up too, and, watched his mom pass away. And so the song that this is from is called Fixer, and it's a pretty crazy song. It's like, I don't know, but the line is like to fall in love with life again. And for me, it's like, it always reminds me of like the good times in life. So that like if you're going through a bad period, that there's going to be a good period again, and you're going to be in love with life again.
This really is the yin and yang episode, isn't it?
Yeah. So I don't know. I just love that line, dude. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But no, that song's fucked up. It's still one of my favorites.
It seems to be the more fucked up it is, the more it can be a favorite, bro. Some of my favorite Eminem songs are like that. Really
fucked up. So your Street Preacher album, you said that was kind of the one where you got out a lot of the kind of like painful and that kind of stuff. But it's hard to recreate that over and over again. So
I don't know. It's like what point are you complaining?
Yeah.
Right, like for me, that's where I had to. So the whole thing with Street Preacher is like this album was supposed to come out like 2 years ago. It's been 4 years since the last time I dropped an album.
Right.
But I couldn't drop it, even though a majority of the music has been done for 2 years, because I needed to be the man that was reflective of the music, so that it was authentic.
Yeah.
So what kept happening is I kept having experiences in my own healing journey.
Right.
That I was like, I'm much more a man that could be a preacher. I never wanted to be in this platform as a hypocrite, contradicting myself, not just being truly authentic. That had to happen.
Mm-hmm. So that that like when you're, I always find that too. Like if I'm gonna be, saying some of these things, then I need to represent it. With like, especially even like in my field with health and fitness, it's like, there's times where I'll be like, okay, well, you got to represent, dude. You got to, like, stay on the path if you're trying to inspire people to be on that path, So maybe I won't go, eat the cookie today, or I won't do this, or...
Exactly. My goal is to transition this. The next album's called Sunday Morning. So Street Preacher is supposed to take you from, like, a very heartfelt, that roller coaster of just life is, right?
Right.
And kind of resonate with, okay, adversity happens to everybody, how we think about it, and the intro track is called Ashamed. The last track is called Salvation. So it is about my coming to Jesus experience, my faith walk, ego death, being reborn, the journey of a phoenix. And then Sunday Morning is like established. It feels calm and good, like a Sunday morning feels, and like a Sunday morning diner with the coffee, or a Sunday morning at congregation, or just Sunday morning breakfast with the fam. I wanted the pace and the tone of that album, and like the healing, and I'll get to say, look, I made these hard choices, I stuck it out, it took a few years, and now I feel really good. And guess what? There's new battles at this stage, but it feels like it's never felt before. I'm a mature man, and my goal is to take people through my discography is literally the evolution and stages that I'm going through as a human being.
And so when you put those songs together, did you kind of like put the track order in a way that takes you on that journey and stuff?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because like when I would do albums and stuff, or like even when I would used to do set lists, I was always very like, I always had to put them together in a way that made sense to me. And like sometimes my bandmates like wouldn't even like, what are you doing? It's like, no, the whole like the set has to have
everyone around me wanted it to be.
The set has to have a flow. Like even when we were doing some covers and some songs that were ours, like to me the show had to have a flow. Like it had a way, like we start out like this, and we're gonna bring it down here, we're gonna maybe do some slower ones, and then we're gonna end with like the big explosion of like the biggest hitter. So like I always like to have like big hitters in the front, big hitters but the biggest ones at the end.
That's literally what I do.
And then I like to kind of in the middle take it down a little bit.
That's where the interlude is.
Yeah, the interlude, a little more slow stuff. This is where we're gonna bring it down, but you gotta start hot. It's kind of even like a wrestling match is like that. It's just, we're telling a story, dude.
Come on, hook.
Yeah.
And then exactly.
Yeah.
What is every story? What do we learn in English? Like the arc, the
story
character arc,
beginning,
story arc,
middle,
climactic.
You have to have a hero. Actually, there's so much value in stories, dude. Like you said, you're talking about philosophy, like old school philosophy. Like I don't know, dude. Like legends, those things are like really important. And sometimes you start seeing these important things now in those stories, and you like see it playing out in the world right now. And that's why I said I think like people discount those things, but because I think sometimes people think like I get way too serious about life, and I'm like, but dude, like it's like a battle.
You're
like,
way too unserious about life.
Yeah, that's what it
is.
is.
That's my response.
Like, oh, it's just
because you're unserious about life.
And even what you said about like kind of like you're like becoming a man, or like I have this weird thing about like there was a period of time where I never really wanted to grow up, you know? And it's like, I do think there is a point where you do have to kind of like, and I think right now society's like set up in a way where you never actually have to. So that's why you do see people kind of still just like, you know,
you
like
think
I said,
there's a bunch
drinking.
of men and women babies out here?
Yeah, it's just a bunch of giant, you know, child, like infant people that, you know, they don't want any responsibility. So they're very happy to give their power to like a daddy type of
what we say earlier about homeless people.
Yeah,
I said they might be wise and they might be simple, but they don't have self leadership. It's because people are literally don't trust themselves.
Where people who really want true freedom realize that freedom comes with responsibility and also danger.
Let me explain this to you.
Yeah.
This simply is what I've been peeping. Is like people don't want to put that damn phone down.
Well,
they'd rather have the comfort of the phone and that little dopamine hit than go work out. Or go do something for themselves. They'd rather live vicariously through people. Parents do this all the time.
Yeah.
That's the generational trauma that's passed on to us. My dad tried to live vicariously through me, and I was like, nah, I'm a hooper.
Put a lot of pressure on you with like sports and stuff.
Bro, I was like, I'm a hooper. As soon as I stopped playing baseball, it was over. Me and my dad's relationship was never the same.
Oh, he was more into baseball?
Yeah, because he was drafted out of high school as a pitcher.
Oh, so and it's like my second chance.
I could have easily, bro. And he was out of the league by 23.
Right. It is weird. Parents have this thing where they want... I do feel this sort of responsibility to, like, try to live up to, like, my family name and make it proud. You know, make my family proud. But there is that thing where certain parents will do that. They'll be like, maybe even some of their shortcomings, they're like, oh, I can fix it with my kid. If they can, you know what I mean? Like they're trying to fix their own trauma for you.
My work ethic is born from my dad's lack of work ethic and his militant psycho way of approaching and teaching me everything.
Right.
Again, he left it as a choice at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. Basically a choice.
Right,
You know, so sometimes I was kind of... But still, the way I was fed it was not like I had a choice. It was either deal with my dad being unpleasant because he thinks I'm a bum.
Right.
Or go work harder than everyone else in the room in every place that I'm at. Be relentless because I'm trying to gain the love of someone that don't care about me. You know what I mean?
Dude,
that's wild.
I have one of my best friends. We've had this conversation because he's very ambitious. He owns a lawn care business and snow removal or whatever. But we talk about kind of like our anxiety, like why are we so like because he gets this very similar, like he's got to be working and we're like, it's always like you're trying to get that pat on the back that you never got, you know. And we're like, I think, do we both both have kind of dad issues? And we're like, yeah, you know. And we love our dads, but it's like I think there's like something of trying to live up to it or something.
And honestly, it's no shot at Pops or that generation.
Well, it's no shot. No, my dad's amazing.
No, they're amazing, but they did not get that from their fathers.
Right.
Like my grandpa served in 3 wars. He came back from Vietnam and did not say anything to anybody until he died of emphysema, and then he spoke when he was on his said
passed down.
It's just
like
passed
you said,
down.
generational trauma.
And they go through war. They're not talking about mental health. They literally don't hear good job. There's not words of affirmation.
Right.
The way that they were loved is not the way that we need to be loved.
Right. And you know what's funny? Then I think the things that I needed, I ended up finding in like my heroes and stuff. Or like podcasts that I listened to. And like these people shaped me. I'm like, oh, that's the thing I've been looking for. And so it's weird. You get these like kind of people that, because I think podcasts are, one of the reasons I wanted to do it is like, for me, they've been huge because you get to be in the room with these people that you would never have access to in your own life. And yeah, you're just listening to them have a conversation. But you're basically getting to learn from people that, because you know how they say like, you know, you want to be around people that bring you up. You're the sum of the 5 people that you're around. Well, now because of this technology, so one positive of technology, like I get to listen to like these amazing people and see how they think, and it changes how I think, and it starts making, like you said, making you realize like these things that maybe this programming, like, oh, like now I'm reprogramming myself with people that have a different point of view or a different, and like now I start realizing like the things that I never thought I could do, I'm actually very capable of doing. You know what I mean? And you're like, oh, so I actually can do these things. It's huge, dude.
It's huge.
So, and sometimes I think that was like, it's, you know, I love my dad. He's actually still one of my heroes. But maybe the things that I never got or that I was missing, I was able to find in other people.
And that's what I was just thinking. Like, that's why I'm always thankful at the end of the day. My core is gratitude. And people can look outside and sometimes they get the misconception of me because I'm very serious. Like, but I'm so motivated because I'm so grateful because everything that happened to me is God's perfect plan. And I keep showing up and he keeps showing me why it's his perfect plan. I keep having faith. He keeps showing me. So a dark room has to be dark. Flick the light on so then light can occupy that space. We had to have some voids and some emptiness. You can't check every single box because then where's the motivation? This is what people say. Why do bad things happen to good people? Okay, the universe has to have these portals, these openings of energy where there's no light. It's just dark. Light can come in. It's all light. Dark can come in. It's a constant ebb and flow. And but if we never have those voids from our perceived voids, it could be perceived as a void or a lack, right? And we could be cynical about that and be like, my dad didn't do this.
No.
Or we could be like, my dad taught me a lot of things.
Yes.
This wasn't a strength. He wasn't given this. It wasn't passed down. You look at them like a human.
You start humanizing them.
And you go, where can I get this information?
Right.
And so I think the whole curse is, I see this with the African-American community all the time, because I grew up in an impoverished white family. My dad was a rich black man. Dude, I'll tell you, low income is the common denominator, not what fucking color you are.
No, I think that's
But
huge
it's a
common
victim
denominator.
mentality is the
victim
core
mentality.
of it.
Yep.
That's the core of it, always, bro.
I even think they push, you know, race and these other things because they don't want you to see that it's an income, it's a class battle. So they want you to split you up with all these other things.
It's another thing.
And I think that kind of happened like with that whole Citizens United, you know, back in 2008 and all that. Like all of a sudden everybody was really mad at like, you know, the stock market and Wall Street, and they started pointing the finger. And everybody, and so they're like, well, what can we do? They're like, you guys all hate each other because of this. That's racist. This is homophobic. That's that. Like now they're fighting again. Like then they forgot about like, oh shit, we're all getting fucked over by the Matrix.
Right.
You know, that's what it was.
Right,
They just,
literally.
they just like deflected us. They're like, oh, they're getting a little too close to the real truth. So it's like we need to get them fighting against each other.
Literally.
You know, like
2012 happened. Let's make it about let's pick an agenda.
And I think that's where they've kind of like, because I think we made a lot of progress in those things, and then now they've tried to kind of light the fire back up again so that we would forget the class battle, you know, and then we can keep making our money. They're all mad at each other over this and that, and who's, you know, so I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting year. It'll be an interesting next, 5 years.
It's gonna be crazy.
It's gonna get wild.
It's gonna get wild. Like you said, like no matter who wins, it's gonna be wild. Like it's gonna be weird. Like there's gonna be people very unhappy on either one side or the other. You know, like so.
And ready to do something about it.
Yeah, well, I look at, but like you said, going back to before we forget that point, like what you said. No, every painful experience I've had in my life, I'm very thankful for. Because I wouldn't be able to be who I am right now. If, like you said, it's like almost like a test from God. It's like, okay, I see what you're doing. Sometimes you're like, really? You're like, do we have to do this again?
It's like points in
I'm
the
still
story
not
where you're
strong
like,
enough.
I hate that character.
Yeah,
like,
you're
why
like-
are they always doing that?
It's like, I'm still not strong enough.
Yeah.
You got to throw more on me. All right, okay. I guess we're still not where we need to be. So you're still gonna I see what you're doing.
It's like the bad guy
It's like,
starts beating up the good guy, and you're like, really? We gotta let this bad
we gotta
guy
do
beat
this
me up for 2
again.
minutes so
We gotta do
everyone
this.
goes, is he really gonna beat him up?
It's like my character's not strong enough yet. Okay, here we go.
And then at the last second, oh, there's the super weapon. Oh, come to me. Ah, boom.
Yeah, I guess it's a good story again, dude. Yeah.
Every time it's a good
But yeah,
story.
that's the thing about gratitude. Like you said, like we could just like take the alternate route, and when those bad challenges, maybe God's testing us, we get a challenge, there's hardship in life, and we don't beat it. Instead, we choose the path of the victim, and then you start, like you said, you get really bitter, and you get really angry, and you start viewing the world as a horrible place, and then and then you're stuck.
Dude, I was so angry and bitter for so long, just what happened to me as a child.
I could see that.
It did not serve anyone or anything, and certainly not me.
How did you get to a point where you realized that wasn't going to actually get you, like what was it that made you realize like, okay, this isn't going to work?
One of my closest day one friends told me that I come across as condescending to people and that I talk down to people.
Oh yeah.
That'll open when you're who you consider a brother tells you in a loving way, hey, I love you, bro.
He was real with you.
I would really like you to consider what I'm about to say. You're very smart, but you gotta stop coming across at like for the sake of your own good, because I want you to be able to connect, because what you share is so important that I want people to be able to receive it. And even with me, sometimes I know you don't mean it like that, but you piss me off sometimes, and I've been like that ever since. It's something I'm still working on to this day. But thank God for my buddy Roddy Hansen, because in the past 10 years, that one thing, and that's why I think speaking the truth from a place of love, surrounding yourself with people who are going to hold you accountable and tell you things with a place of love, but gently. He didn't crush me.
This has been a theme I've had so many people on here, and that's been a theme.
Dude,
like
it's like
the real friends,
bro,
are the ones that hold you accountable.
priceless, bro.
The fake friends are the ones that are like, you're fine how you are. It's okay.
Or let you live in that world. Like
you're never gonna grow. They let you.
They enable you.
I feel that though too, dude. Like I've definitely gotten the arrogant. He's arrogant. He's condescending. Like that. I think that's the thing. Like you said, with your maybe because you're intelligent. So then like it can. I don't know. And we start judging people.
Confidence just like okay. Sometimes my observations and like the way I search for patterns and empirical evidence could be perceived by someone with insecurities as judgment. Mm-hmm. Again, criticism and feedback don't move the needle for me, and neither does affirmation. That's something that we talked about plenty in this episode. I don't care what anyone thinks about me. It's between me and God and my own evaluation of self. I'm not going to be a delusional narcissist who never considers another human's opinion.
Right.
It's who it's coming from. And then at the same time, I really actually don't care. It doesn't hold weight, but I'll consider it because it's a perspective. I should be open to it. But at the end of the day, it doesn't hold weight because I'm going to make the decision based off what I believe is best for myself in my own. But can it be more informative to have other perspectives? Yes, but we need to be conscious of how influential it is. Anytime that you're confident, bro, the best compliments I've ever got is that you're stubborn. Yeah. And you don't listen to anybody.
Right.
Congratulations. Anybody who did anything worthwhile in the world ever was stubborn and didn't listen to someone about it.
Yeah.
Because if it hadn't been done before, it would exist already. It like people would agree upon that this is a thing that's needed. Mm-hmm. When you're forward, when you're revolutionary, when you're forward thinking, when you have vision, you are seeing something that isn't in the physical. So yeah, I'm stubborn. Yeah, I'm arrogant. Yes, like, my confidence, your confidence. Of course, we're gonna hear that all the time. Yeah. Or we're red pill dudes. That's one of the most stupid things I've ever heard.
Red pill, is that a big thing now?
Like I've heard multiple times this year that I'm a red pill guy.
You've been red pill.
Oh, because I wake up early. Mm-hmm. Because I show up. I'm professional and reliable. Yeah. This was just normal in the 1920s.
Right.
Why did I take a red pill 100 years later?
Yeah, definitely.
What are you talking about?
That's something I'm sure my friends would say about me right now. He's been red-pilled, yeah. But, I don't know, dude. I think when you look...
You want me to have a bunch of soy titties and just act like
soy boy.
Female and, you know what I mean?
Fuck
Drink
that.
out of a sippy cup?
Yeah, have you seen, like, the recent stats about, the health of our nation? Like, it's fucked up.
I mean, 42% of people are obese. So
Yeah.
that means right there, 40% of people I can't listen to. Straight
It's
up right there.
bad,
42% of people should not be voting.
I know.
Because they can't lead themselves. How are you going to have an opinion on the country? And if that offends you, you seriously need to do some self-work. I don't think anybody who is technically obese should have an opinion on what's going... How are you going to have an opinion on something you can't even...
Yeah, you can't even take care of yourself.
You can't take care of yourself.
Oh,
Unless you
man.
have a medical condition that prevents you from working out and you gain excess weight.
Yeah, you know who loves body positivity movement is the pharmaceutical industry,
100%.
the big food industries.
Lazy people
Yeah,
who don't want responsibility.
I think that's a funny thing, dude. Like, I'm like, yeah, of course they want you unhealthy. They want you like, yeah. I mean, it just, so that's red pilled again if you say things like that. I do feel like it's like I'd love to live in a fantasy world where, you know, if you're unhealthy, like if being, you know, obese didn't have health consequences. But like you said, I mean, even like you said, like with the spiritual thing, like if you're not healthy, you're closed off from like even knowing the beauty and the greatness that can even come from your body. You're not going to be in tune. Like,
you're not even perceiving nature the way that it's truly meant to be perceived.
No. So yeah, I'm the same way with that stuff. I think there are big, you know, entities that want you to be that way, and they're going to profit off of that. And if you can't break free of that, then you're kind of just a slave to those industries. So here, eat this food, get unhealthy. We got these pills for you. We don't want you to get, you know. So yeah, that's kind of another big thing for me with like in this next election. It's like I only see one side talking about that, you know, and which is the chronic disease epidemic. And so to me, that's huge that someone's even talking about it.
Oh, it's
because right there, you're already piercing the whole, you know, you're piercing the psyop. You know, it's like if someone's even bringing that up, like, so of course that's going to be the side that I'm going to be on. You know, like I just want people to be healthy and happy, and I want to be healthy and happy. And if you're going to be unhealthy, then whatever. But you know.
Yeah. Don't tell me that that's normal though.
It's not normal.
Don't try to force feed me your cancer. No.
That's it. It goes back to that thing, like I said, about toxic, unhealthy, and then they want everybody else to be okay with that.
There's a saying. It's a Chinese proverb. It goes, "Poison in the river doesn't kill one fish. It kills them all."
Yeah, that's interesting, dude. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's been a battle to find health. You know what I mean? Like, this world is not set up for you to find health. It's completely set up to put you down.
Humans have superpowers when their health is optimized and their spirit is optimized. And that scares the shit out of the people in charge.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, that's what I said right now. The most rebellious thing you could do is be healthy, mentally or physically. Nobody wants you to do that right now.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Damn, dude. Yeah, you do got some strong opinions, too.
I do have some strong opinions. And I was, honestly, bro, I was tapered back about 10% total right
Oh,
there.
my God. Like, yeah.
There's another 90% there.
You know, I feel that, too.
Yeah.
I can't say, like, I mean, yeah. But that's right. I try to.
It doesn't mean that I love Andrew Tate or any of these guys. Like, dude, I'm a free thinker. I think for myself. It's called discernment. And I think that's the gift that's missing from our generation.
I don't know many people that think for themselves right now.
No. That's what Lion's Den is. That's what it says in the bio. Free thinkers who love the journey.
Right.
Come on, bro.
Well, that's a hard thing right now because every time I talk to somebody, if it's about something political or just an opinion on culture, and I hear them saying something that's basically like a parrot, you know, they're parroting something. I'm like, I know exactly where you heard that. Like, I don't know what I was asking you what your opinion is.
I didn't ask. And
I didn't ask you to like repeat the official okay narrative that you're supposed to say, because I feel like people do that. Like I even have a friend that does this. Love the guy, but he's one of them dudes where like if you kind of ask him something, well, what does so and so think about that? And then he'll like wait, like he kind of waits to get like the temperature of the room, you know, before he'll say an opinion on something. I'm like, yeah, okay. But I think that's what most people do.
Oh, I'm not that guy, Nick.
Yeah, you're not. Huh?
I don't have any inclination. Dude, I've been alone my whole life.
I love it, dude. That's
bro,
so
like,
good.
I had no desire to be liked. I have people-pleasing issues for a long time, but, like...
Oh, I've definitely done that,
Let's talk about something real. Let's talk about the actual issue. And policing each other to conformity, I think, is the worst thing that humans do. It's a very natural thing. Another way to say it is crabs in a bucket. You said it at the start of this podcast. Policing people into conformity is just the corniest thing, because that means that your insecurities and your desire to not stand out, to not be...
well, that's what I'm finding right now.
It's like everybody wants to be freaking in Waldo. Like, where's Waldo? Like, can't find him. He's just blending in.
No, bro. So think about this.
Like, why?
Like, right now, I feel like is a time where that's why I've been able to kind of, like... It's that time. This is that time where, like, everybody else is going to be this one way, and you have to have, like, enough faith in yourself to know something is right and be like, no. And even when everybody's going to turn on you, or they're going to hate you, or they're not going to like you for it, you have to be like, no, I can't.
That's the most powerful word.
You know what I'm saying?
Right now.
No. Yeah.
Yes, that is the most powerful word.
Like you said, if you've had people-pleasing things, like, I've definitely had that in my life.
Because you're a generator. Because people just naturally look at you as supply.
Yeah, so it's a way you can definitely get used. Like, I'll say, it's like, so saying no, because when you start having to, like, take care of yourself, and you have to, like you said, you're in business, no is, like, the most powerful thing, because for one, it's like, you don't really have enough time. Like, you just don't have enough time.
If you get serious about your life, you'll realize none of us do.
And then it becomes very valuable when you actually do give someone your time. You know what I'm saying? And it makes you more valuable if you can say no. Like, there's certain clients I won't take because I know they're going to be trouble, and I never want to put myself in a position where, like, I need, like, I don't need you as much as you need me. I'm going to solve your problem. If you want me to help you solve your problem, you come to me. I'm not, like, you know what I mean?
I'm posting that on IG later today. I saved it. I was in the office and I was like, people keep acting like, or making comments to me like, you don't have to be a know-it-all. And I'm like, you don't have to call me to solve your problems either. Don't call me. What? Oh, I don't have to act like a know-it-all? Okay, don't call me.
Yeah,
maybe you're right. I could be a little bit more gentle, but then don't call me.
Right.
Call someone.
Like, there's a thing of, like, you have to, you have to show value. You have to, show that you can solve a problem. Like, you have to have some kind of, like, evidence that shows that you know what you're doing. But beyond that, like, when people start trying to make me jump through hoops, it's like, if you don't believe in me now, like, I don't really need you. Like, I'm not going to jump through this hoop and do this extra thing that you want me to do. Like, if you don't want to work with me, that's fine.
I did not solicit your business. Like, you reached out to me.
If you
we are
need me,
a boutique service.
Yeah.
I had to cut a phone call short yesterday because of that.
Yeah, that's the thing I've been realizing right now. It's like, no, I'm not going to.
You're coming to me with just a concept, asking for tens of thousands of dollars, and you're trying to qualify me, but you have no experience in this industry and no success or track records that you can show me.
Right.
And you feel like I'm not being transparent with you? Excuse me?
Yeah.
Do not try to manipulate, gaslight, and I was like, oh, so clearly all you did was show me, this person, that you are not developed at all in a business world or scenario, and you just got yourself. I will never respond to you. I will never take another meeting with you.
There's a huge thing of manipulators, yeah.
And often, this is a whole nother conversation, but again, it comes from people who, they have a system. We talked about systems. They learned how to get a result, and it's through pity and it's through weaponizing emotions. And honestly, for a lot of men, it's a feminine characteristic. So for when women do it, I'm not surprised. This is how they play. This is how they fight.
Right.
For men, though, there's just so many soft men
that are
feminine and beta. They're just weasels about everything.
That's like dudes that make a big deal out of their birthday. I don't get it.
Dude, I got celebrated for the first time this year. It's my 30th birthday, and in like a minute,
I get in trouble if I say that. It's like, oh, you're sexist. I'm like, because if women or kids like make a big deal out of their birthday, I think it's fine. But I think if grown men do, it's like, bro, what's wrong with you,
dude?
Like, you don't have enough going on,
dude. If your significant other does nothing out of the ordinary and it's your birthday, that's lame.
Well, right.
As a grown man.
Yeah.
I dealt with that situation. That's
I'm
lame.
not saying, like, don't celebrate. I don't know. There's just
but
a weird...
it doesn't need to be like, oh, like, I didn't do anything for my 30th. Like, it's Pinder's 30th. All the boys are coming over. And, that's not as weird.
No, like,
we're
if
not
a
ever
dude
doing
comes
that.
in, he's like, oh, my God, guys, it's my birthday.
Right.
It's like,
that is what women do. They get together and...
Yeah. I don't know.
It's just another day out of the year.
Nick is sexist.
Come on, bro. Born alone, die alone.
Yeah, well, I just feel like
make this misogynistic.
We're too busy, dude. We're too busy. We're building shit. We don't got time to be like, oh my god, it's my birthday. You know, it's, like,
it's my birthday, bitches.
It's just an off-putting thing to me. I don't know. And none of my friends are like that either. They're like, yeah, that's lame when people do that.
No, it's also like I don't have time to be concerned about you forgot my birthday or we made plans and then you had to reschedule. Like, dude,
if it's my bro's birthday, though, I'll definitely like reach out and like be
for sure. But if I miss a birthday or someone misses my birthday and they hit me the day before or day after, I do this with my day one homies almost every year. We'd be texting each other the day after or the day before, like, hey, yo, did I get it? Like,
same with like me and my friends. Like we're like no needy texts.
Nah.
Like there's things where like we'll text something and like you won't get a response for days. Like that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not business or anything. If it was something pressing, but like, I think those are like the best friends you have, where like there's not a neediness, or I feel like that's an off-putting thing, right? Like,
dude, Josh said something the other day. Business partner Josh said everything comes from the perception of lack, all suffering and frustration. And I was like, man, I keep thinking about that.
Everything comes from the perception of lack. Yeah. I always say that too with like dudes that like, you know, if you're into a girl and you respond too much and stuff, like you're just showing her like she's got you no matter what. You know what I'm saying?
She's just the option, not one of many options.
Yeah, so you're losing value every time that you're like doing that stuff. You know what I'm saying? But that's like the laws of the universe. Dude.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So and see that's again. I think learning the laws of the universe, healing our DNA. Now more than ever, self-awareness is power, not just information. We live in the information age. We actually transition into the Aquarius age. So, you know, realizing ourselves is all about self-awareness. It's all about communication with, you know,
I like that stuff about communication because I think that's a huge thing. Learning how to communicate, because like you said, like you might say something and think somebody knows exactly what you said, but they don't. That's why it's like you always have to make sure there's like a feedback thing where like, did they actually get what I said? Or like, because like, well, I told you that. And it's like, but you really didn't because they didn't get it. So that's probably a huge thing in business is trying to learn how to communicate properly.
Oh, absolutely. And no matter how much you clarify expectations, you know, there's a saying I have, clear expectations with support builds trust. Clear expectations without support erodes trust. No expectations, no support is just plain stupid. Right. But clear expectations with support builds trust, and that communication, like you said, is a constant feedback loop. Does that make sense? Is a question we ask all the time in business. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And it's not like, do you understand? Because that feels like almost like a shot at intelligence. Right. But like, does that make sense? Does the concept make sense to you? And if someone gives me the yes, you know, and then documenting it, because expectations can be verbal but not documented, and
it's probably really fun, like creating, huh?
Oh, absolutely.
Like in business, when you get these people around you and you have a similar mission together, like it's really fun building, creating, man. Like.
Oh, it's the coolest.
When did you and Josh actually meet? Like.
So Josh and I have actually known each other since like 11, 12 years old.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so North Shore YMCA, but just playing basketball in like the same after school center.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've known Josh since I was little. Mm-hmm. We got close when we were in our early 20s.
Yep.
He starts doing music. He moves to Nashville. We're like circling around each other.
Because you're doing music already.
I lived in Nashville, so I would hit him up when he would come out. And I was like back and forth between Nashville, LA, and Seattle. He was doing basically the same thing. Uh-huh. And then he started having success in business. Basically, Josh and I's lives were like exactly parallel. So like we were kind of struggling. Both like did the music thing around the same time. Then kind of caught our momentum. Found mentors around the same time. So like building these programs at the same time. We really locked in about 2 years ago. And then we started to build like our Avengers dream team. Mm-hmm. You know, I called Ryan, who ultimately been my angel investor for years, to be our third partner. Josh and I really start to lock in, and that's how what we have now, Medina Bay Partners, gets born. But it was lots of phone calls. You know, 6 months before we had an office, just lots of phone calls and daily work. You know, committing at least 2 hours a day to building it. And dude, it was a lot of like, it felt like a lot of talking, like because there was so much planning and stuff, and like it was making a vision or something come into the physical.
Right.
And
that's what creation is, right?
It was so cool, you know. It's actually so cool to look back on. I was kind of talking with him today about that. Like, look at what we've done in less than a year
It comes from your imagination, creating, and then you turn it into a real thing.
And like I was just looking around the offices that we have, and I was like, we went from no office to these offices, and that's when I think people see like architects build buildings. They just want to create skyscrapers, or like like you have a vision to like. Now I get why Google has like that epic campus, and like Apple has it, because I'm like, whoa, this started from a garage, and now like we have this like massive 40,000 square foot like just parking lot, like.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? Like, to me, that's so cool. Like, the Egyptians building pyramids and stuff. Like, it all makes sense when you look at it like that.
Well, and that's what I think is cool about you guys, like, seeing... Well, because, like, I met Josh when he was, like, really just a musician, you know? Like, he's hanging out with these MMA... not MMA, but these Muay Thai people, and so he's, like, doing that. And then I saw him kind of, like, struggling and kind of have this change and go through this growth process, and then to where he is now. And... I don't know, dude. It's just really cool watching people kind of like, especially because I did music too, so I kind of understand the whole like, you know, you come to this, like you guys had some weird experiences, you saw what it really is, and then you kind of go another direction, and like watching like his change and then grow, and then you realize like that is how anything that we see now that's really successful started. So that's like when people kind of like, I don't know. There's like that whole thing about like you'll never see a millionaire, judge somebody for trying to start a business. You'll never see an athlete judge someone for starting to. Yeah, because like you see like something starts out this one thing, but like you said, those things you just said, these big, huge campuses, like, you know, what is Amazon? There's that famous picture of like, you know, Bezos with the little office and the books and the little banner, and it's like that's how these things start, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like. It starts with an idea. It starts out as a small thing, and people will judge you for trying to do things.
That's what they crave is courage.
And it's just like, so I'm always, when I see people trying to do things, I'm like, do it. You know, like there's no reason you can't do it. You know, like, I don't know. I
just do it.
Yeah, like that's Nike, but. You know, there's these certain people that, you know, like they'll even do that to me where they just get in my DMs and they're like, "What? You know, why don't you do this? Why don't you?" It's like, you're not doing shit. Please, like, just like stop. You know, like I don't understand why you feel like you can tell me how to do this when I see you doing nothing. You know what I mean? You have no credentials or like, and they'll be like, "Oh, you know, I don't know."
It's always a person with like no profile pic and a private account.
Right. And it's like, yeah, you'll look at it, okay, they got like 100 followers, and they're like, you know, okay, so you're telling me what kind of content I should be doing, or what, you know, it's like, I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah.
It's a weird energy.
It is, you know.
And it's like, why don't you take all your ideas
and
go do it
listen
yourself and listen to yourself and like.
Because that's a distraction.
Right.
If I invest, again, object referral, external. Oh, I don't have that because my circumstances.
Right. So
because
you can always
I live with my mom. I wasn't born into this. And then they look at me and they go, "Oh, he must have been born into money." And it's like, no, God gave me charisma, communication. All these are skill sets that I've worked on, except for the physical looks and the athletics. Everything else is something that I had the raw materials. He gave it to me.
But you had to build it.
And he also put me through freaking hell. Right. He put me through hell and he gave me this and said, "Hey, on the other side of it, if you can get through this, I'll give you the great raw materials." Yep. Everyone's playing field, I'm so convinced, bro, like most people's playing field is literally even.
Yes.
Like it's actually even.
Yeah, and even if it's not, like how many successful people have you seen taking a non-great situation and still been able to turn it into something amazing? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I just feel like...
In America, there's no excuse, bro.
Yeah, finding a scapegoat for it is just a weak way out, dude. It's just weak...
That's what people are nowadays, is weak.
Yeah.
But there's a
Do you have an issue with weakness a little bit? Or
Always. I've always had an issue with weakness. I try to, like, smite it out. It affects my intimate relationships really bad.
It's tough for me to be around that kind of energy.
Yeah, I actually despise it because I had to kill any and all signs of weakness because I get literally physically abused. That's why my face always looks like I'm pissed off, even though I'm like the happiest little teddy bear inside.
Yeah.
It's because it's just a system that I developed. So I look scary.
But that's probably something that you're trying to work on, huh?
No, I like it.
You like that?
Yeah, it keeps people away that aren't genuinely interested. Like, if you don't want to get past
That's
like
true,
the kind of like, and if you have an opinion on me based off of the way that my face looks without asking me a question, then that's just reflective.
Yeah, I get that
of
a
you.
lot too, where people are like intimidated by me.
I love that. That scares away everyone that's not confident. Goes away like
So that's
little
a good
mice.
thing.
Love it.
Yeah, they don't even fuck.
It's
with you.
actually my built-in litmus test for people.
If they have the confidence to like
Approach
talk
me.
to you.
Yeah. Or if they're like, he seems like something's up with him. Or like he must not like me. Or I'm intimidated by him.
Bro, I just like to try to be mysterious.
Literally. 48 laws of power.
Yeah, and then people get to know me, they're like, oh my God, he's so nice. I'm like, shit, it's not working.
That's
I'm
literally
like,
what
damn
happens.
it.
That's what happens to me every time.
I'm like, no. Yeah, no.
And they're like, well, I think I'm traumatized in this way. And I'm like, oh, did we just become best friends?
Well, there is trauma bonds too.
Oh, absolutely.
You get
That's what I'm joking about.
That's a weird thing, dude, where people get really bonded. Like, even like at working in a bar and stuff like that.
Dude,
like
that's what you're watching play out on a mass level, right?
It's
trauma bonds.
bonding, yeah. And
That's
then you start realizing this isn't healthy, and then people get mad at you for wanting to get away from it. Because there is
everybody's got to go have a drink together after work. I've seen that in every restaurant that I've ran, managed, been a part of.
Or like people that have weekends. I don't get it. Like, it's hard for me to relate to people that like the people are stuck in this like 9 to 5 and then the weekend, and they always talk about the weekend and I'm like always like, oh, like I don't even know what that is, because I've been working in bars for so long, or doing my own thing, or chasing like this dream or that dream, and then it's like, so it's hard for me to relate to that normal cycle of like work, weekend, live for the weekend, and it's kind of sad actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
It makes me sad. Like, I don't know. It's as long as people are happy, I'm like, whatever, but I don't know if they truly are.
That's the hard thing, right?
Yeah, and it's not my job to make them happy, so like they're going to have to figure it out for themselves. But I do like to try to inspire people, you know what I mean? Like, if you have something, a dream, if you have something you want to go after, like, I do believe you can do it. If you're, like you said, able to like take on the pain and the suffering and the challenges and the tests then you can do it. But yeah, I see that a lot too, where people they want a lifestyle, but they don't actually want what comes with the lifestyle. You know what I mean? Like, so they want. I even see that with like building people's physiques. They want to. I'd say this a lot. Like, they want a certain physique, but they don't want to actually do the inputs that it takes to create that physique, and they think they can still have the physique without. But it's like it's the law of nature. You really can't. You literally are a product of the things that you do in your life. So you're not going to look like a Greek god if you're not putting in the inputs that will create that, So I don't know. People are very unrealistic about that. Like they'll be like, I wish I had Elon Musk's money, but they definitely wouldn't want what he has to do.
Yeah, no one would want to live. Not even one day.
No, they
as
couldn't
Elon.
do it. They couldn't do it. That was a big thing for me, like changing my opinion of like rich people. You grow up very blue collar. You have this like certain idea that all rich people are evil and they're all shitty, and like they're rich because you're poor, and like you don't realize like the things that it takes for them to get there, especially people that are self-made. It's like different when you're talking about, maybe somebody that has like family money or whatever. But even things like that are not always as they seem either.
Absolutely.
Because even like, people all hate Trump, but they're like, oh, he got $1 million from his dad. I'm like, bro, if you got $1 million, you'd be broke again in a year. You wouldn't have built this empire with it. So like, there's still something that he was able to do.
Everyone loves to say a small loan.
Yeah. It's like,
okay, what if I give you $10,000? Would you go make $100,000 with it?
That's what I'm saying. There's people that win the lottery and they're broke again, and it's because of what you said. I am already a billionaire. I just am not a billionaire yet.
Yeah, it's personal development.
If you have the mindset and the skills, like that's what you will be. It's putting the habits in place that create that reality, right?
And then what happens after 10 years? Everyone who's close in my life knows I'm going to be a billionaire. So now it's starting to get affirmed around me because they're like, yeah, I have longevity watching him be this way for long enough. Mm-hmm. From the most successful
But you have to not give up. That's the thing.
No.
You have to keep it long enough.
I showed up every single day.
And then also you have to, I think there's a thing about like blockages. So maybe you have the vision, you have this thing, and you are headed in that way, and then there's like blockages that will stop it. Or like you said, slipping back into patterns that would, you know what I mean? So you have to always be aware of those things. Mm-hmm. Those are like pitfalls that you have to avoid, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Potential pitfalls, absolutely.
Those are tough, dude. Blockages.
So that's, I think everyone needs a mentor, preferably someone who's analytical, because someone playing devil's advocate is one of the best things that you can have in your corner. It can also be dangerous.
Yeah.
You got to really believe in yourself to constantly have holes picked in you.
Yes, it's very tough. Like, if you want to get to where you're going, you're going to need feedback and be able to take feedback.
But it makes you a monster, bro. When you truly get detached from it, like, that's what it's just like you can get when they get hit and keep going. Just get hit and keep going.
Well, even like your thing with, being in business, you have to get very used to rejection.
Oh, absolutely.
So if you're selling, you got to be able to get good at rejection.
Again, there's that word no.
And still be optimistic and not let it just destroy your entire
It's got to be your favorite word. You got to be able to hear it. You got to be able to say it.
No is very powerful, bro. Yeah. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. And like keeping your faith in yourself, realizing that that's one no, but there's a million other yeses.
I mean, it was Colonel Sanders for years. Did you see the Dyson vacuum guy? Finally came out, his story?
No, tell me about it.
It's like 10,000 inventions. It's like Edison number. It was like 1,500 or 2,500.
It takes that many failures to have a success.
Yeah, the dude who invented Dyson vacuum is worth billions and billions off his patent. It literally took him thousands of tries.
That's that don't give up. That's the thing about don't give up then.
I saw Trump live in Charlotte in 2013, I think.
Yeah.
And Darren Hardy. The only thing I took from Trump's whole speech, and is basically all he was trying to tell everyone, was don't give up.
Yeah, there is a very powerful speech of him saying that.
He's like, I'm not the smartest person from Wharton School of Business. These are all the people that went. He went on to list all these great people, and he goes, but I'm the richest and I'm the most successful because I don't give up.
I don't give up. He's very tenacious.
He goes, those super smart people end up going and working for somebody else.
Oh, man. People hate if you even say one positive thing about that guy.
About Trump?
Yeah, but
why is that so triggering for people?
It really is. Because you could say, like, oh, that's a quality that I like. Maybe you hate other things about him, but there's, like, a quality like that. Like, because that is one thing about him. He doesn't give up, dude. I mean, look at him right now. He could easily just stop what he's doing and be, like,
man's is old, got shot at. Like, you don't have to risk his life.
No, he doesn't have to do any of this stuff that he's doing, dude. It's like... Yeah, but that's a cool skill that he has. It's like he does not give up, dude. Like, and he doesn't forget things. He'll he wants to do a thing, he's gonna do it.
Dude, you can't beat someone that doesn't quit.
He's gonna try. Yeah,
you literally can't beat someone that doesn't quit, bro.
And you know what's funny is like it actually backfires because it makes people like him even more. Because they see him not giving up. They see the lawfare. They see the getting shot. They see and he's still coming. He's still coming. That's a quality no matter what. You should be able to, like you said, even Zuckerberg came out and said, you know what, that was cool that he got shot and still got up. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That is a cool quality, dude.
And I think that's what, Trump is fighting wars that none of us will ever know about or understand.
Right.
And I think that's the type of man that I'm trying to, with his composure and his love and his willingness to be misunderstood and his energy and his vigilance of spirit and his fighting for the light. He's fighting for benevolence. Whether or not this is just a test of a school or if it actually matters and it is, or it's just a simulation, I want to stand on business for my God and my Creator. Yeah. And I love the way that Trump does that. And at the end of the day, honestly, all I've taken away from the Bible is God don't like lukewarm. Jesus is our Savior, and God don't like lukewarm. So you better be passionate about something. Even if you just dead ass wrong, at least you was passionate about it.
Dude, how many people do you still respect, even if you disagree with them, they're wrong, but they're very passionate?
As long as they're not harming somebody, I'm like, oh shoot, like you know.
It's
what I
like,
mean?
well, you have a belief that you're very strong, you're very passionate, and sometimes they find out they're wrong later, but it's like, hey, you still got to give them credit for like standing up for what they believe,
being willing to be a fool.
Also, the whole thing with another thing with Trump is like the ability to be hated and still believe in what you believe in and fight for it. You know what I mean? Because that's huge, dude. Like, people hating you is you don't like it. It doesn't feel good.
Nobody wants bad, evil eye energy over them.
You're able to be hated, that's huge, dude. Because, like, that means, like you said, like you're standing for something.
I'll tell you one thing for sure, though, bro. Negative thoughts about me or Trump or anybody else, they certainly never killed me, and they never killed Trump. So anybody who thinks that they're doing anything by wishing ill on somebody or having hating energy, and like anybody who's in a position, that's like Tyler the Creator said, whoa, you're bullying me through the computer, turn it off.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, though, actually.
Dude, that's another dude who
get
I
it
really
together,
like. I like
man.
that guy's music a lot. Yeah.
But he can be openly gay and super controversial. And it's like the things that he says about bullying and stuff is people just want to pick and choose. Oh, because he's gay, he can make fun of cyberbullying and it's all right. Bro, you can't have your cake and eat it too with everything. You can't just pick and choose and be selective. It either is or it isn't.
Right.
Things are contextual, but that's kind of what drives me crazy. With Trump, they want to cherry pick stuff, but with Biden, it's okay. Like Biden, it's stuff like that. When the political agenda, and I don't do red or blue. I honestly don't, Nick. I don't at all. But don't cherry pick with stuff. Don't contradict yourself. Like, again, I hope anybody watching this is inspired to take a look at a value hierarchy for themselves. Look at what is important to you. What are your priorities? You know, again, simplifying and reducing. You know what's really amazing and what takes time in cooking is reduction.
Yeah.
But when you reduce something, you could take a tart, stinky onion and make it sugary and sweet.
Yeah.
So the simplification and reduction of stuff is a very beneficial process. We can do that with our values and our life and condense it and go, bro, I got 5 buckets. Basketball, Jesus, finance and business, relationship, growth, God. Really, that's it.
Yeah.
And my 5th one is a personal thing. It's on my head all the time. It's all I think about. And then my values, you know, honestly, I'm down to 3. God/integrity, relationship, and then that Greek word, eudaimonia, fulfillment. The progressive realization of worthwhile goals, which I'm going to have many throughout my life.
Yeah.
So those are my 3 values. Now my life is simple, bro. Anytime I got a decision to make, okay, so say there's money on the line.
Values help you make decisions.
But my mom is sick. That's the biggest business opportunity of my life, or my mom's sick. Easy. Relationship comes before eudaimonia and the realization of a goal. So I got to go be there for moms.
Yes. That makes sense.
It's that simple.
Yep.
And then instead of being torn and then living with guilt later.
So if you set your values,
regret,
you're able to make your decisions based on those values.
Saves me time beforehand, saves me time when the decision comes, saves me time later because it saves me the pang of regret and mental bandwidth that shouldn't be taken up because the event's already happened. Move forward.
Yeah, yeah.
Bro, I'm telling you, bro, because people fail to plan, they actually are planning to fail. And they don't plan their own damn lives.
Well, no, most are just floating.
Autopilot.
Like floating.
And then
that's the zombie thing.
You're subject to synapses that were formed in your neural patterns from the age of 0 to 7. Because your subconscious, you're in theta brain waves.
It's ingrained in there, and you've never realized that you actually have the power to like reprogram it yourself. Yeah, that's a big thing. I know with like the psychedelics, dude. They're able to kind of help you wipe that stuff out. There's, like you said, it's like, I would say it's the thing about like a kid who's like parent, you said, you know, you're a piece of shit, you'll never amount to anything. And then you get like, if that's something you go through life in your brain, it's like stuck in there, dude. And it takes a lot to like realize like, oh, that's not even true. You know what I mean? So like, that's powerful stuff, dude, when you can realize like you actually have the ability to program yourself the same way and that's the thing. If you're not going to do it, somebody else is doing it for you. So you are now programmed. So if you're just floating through life, like somebody's running the program, it ain't you, bro.
And it ain't a positive program. I gotta pour another one of these because I gotta take you didn't take yours yet. I gotta take this little. That was supposed to be a beginning and end.
Oh yeah, it's actually really good.
We're doing a tiny little splash.
Back to Metallica.
To this conversation because this was
James Hetfield. He's my man.
This was absolutely needed.
Yeah, I'll take a little bit more.
Yeah. A little splashy splash.
All right, man. Well, we'll cheers to that.
Great question.
And then we can probably wrap this up.
Get in there. Metallica bottle.
Blackened American Whiskey, brought to you by Metallica.
Blackened American Whiskey.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much for being here. Cheers to that.
Cheers, brother.
And, yep, I wish you and Josh nothing but success with everything you guys got going on. And I appreciate you taking your time and being here today, man.
I appreciate it. You know you'll be heavily involved with everything we got going on.
Dude, I'm excited.
And back at you.
I'm excited. So we have the first event for Lions Den Global is coming up this Thursday.
August 29th at 7 p.m.
Now, are there any spots left, or is that it?
We did open up 10 more spots.
Okay, so people are interested, yeah.
Yeah, so you can go to @TheLionsDenGlobal on Instagram. Our link is in the bio there. You can RSVP. This is a free event. The first event is free. In the future, these will be charged events, ticketed events. But for now, we had 40 people RSVP in the first 48 hours. So we had to open up 10 more spots. Yeah, go to our Instagram at the Lions Den Global. Tap in. 7 p.m. this Thursday. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to meet all the people there. I'm excited to like talk about what I'm interested in, which is fitness and health. So this is going to be exciting, man. But all right, Derek, if people want to check out your music, they can check out Street Preacher on Spotify.
Apple Music, all the DSPs.
Any place that you can find music. All right, man. I appreciate you being here, and thank you, everybody, for listening. All right, we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you, Nick.
Yes, sir.